back in the day, ex-Formula 2, Formula 1 driver, but he went into retirement, but then the whole team, along with Mette Björknes, have formed this new team. But yeah, Robin lost it. I think he barrel rolled, didn't he, in free practice? Pretty late on, actually, with 13 minutes remaining after he's crashed, just left in the session. So
certainly saw damage to the pickle forks of his moor hull. And the word was that he probably wouldn't make qualifying.
Jo, pavyko, tikrai buvo problema tuomet, kad buvo per mažai svorio kairės pusės sponsonė. Mes pasitarėm su gamintoju ir pasakė mano vieną klaidą, kad tiesiog toj vietoj, buvo sunkus labai akumuliatoriai, tai aš norėjau ten toj vietoj truputėlį pažaisti su svoriu, bet gamintojas pasakė, kad tai negalima, nes būtent laivas taip apskaičiuotas, kad toje vietoje turi būti tie akumuliatoriai sunkesni. Taip, kad teko akumuliatorių sunkesnių neturiu, nes turiu lengvus, bet teko skolintis ir iš Abu Dabi švino ir netgi viską savo sunaudojau, kad turėjau, nes reikėjo 20 kg netgi įdėti į kairį sponsoną. Tai dabar pasitvarkėm, žiūrėsim, kaip bus kvalifikacijoje.
Super, ačiū tau ir linkiu sėkmės kvalifikacijoje ir laukiam tik tais prizinėse vietose.
Ačiū.
Jason, would you like to translate there what Edgar has said?
He said he's under a lot of pressure, I think, this weekend because he is the man who made the event all happen. Of course, a big thanks to Edgaras. So, but we're going to go for another interview now. We're going to go to
with Bimber.
Ferdinand Zandbergen. He races for the Sharjah team. So let's hear from Ferdinand.
How are you feeling for qualification?
I feel quite calm.
How did the practice go?
It went as expected for me. We were out there and testing so every bit is in the place, and now we put the faster prop on.
You didn't have like any issue or problems in your boat?
Just minor problems, which I think I will handle during the qualifications now.
And what is the most important things to do before qualification and like comparing with all of the boats?
I think before the qualifying is to have everything in place, and out there is to be fast and get a good bit of fresh water, which is going to be hard now.
Thank you very much and good luck in the qualification. Thank you. Thank you.
Our apologies. Of course, it wasn't Ferdinand, it was actually Bimber. And Bimber, who crashed out twice last season, she has had her confidence knocked a bit. So it's going to be interesting to see how she bounces back in the 2021 season from that disastrous 2020 season.
She was playing it down somewhat, wasn't she? Because they've had a lot of bother getting the boat and the motor together in this last few days.
Yeah, absolutely. And one man has sweated blood and thunder for that team, Scott Curtis, Bimber's partner, and Scott, who is a driver himself, has taken the pressure off Bimber for this event to make sure all the engine gets there from the UK, because some of the parts are in the UK. The team is kind of based in Sweden, but
okay, we've got Kempsey being interviewed next, Jason.
Yeah, he's the man that was absent
important
last
things
year.
to do while driving in qualifications?
You need important to focus and you have a clear water that you'll take the pool.
Thank you very much and good luck.
A man, a few words.
Absolutely. He's saving all his energy for this qualifying session, I would imagine. John, just to run through qualifying just quickly then. So we've got 3 sessions, just the same as in Formula 1 cars, the same as in Formula 1 boats. Slightly different as we get to Q3, but we'll explain. So, John, Q1 is a 20-minute session. There'll be 17 boats then, won't there, in this Q1 session?
Yeah, 17 boats. And then, so we had that Q1, and then Q2 we dropped down into 15 boats. And then in Q3, which used to be the shootout, we go down to 6. It was interesting to see the UIM rules on this. It's always been a big debate whether there should have been the shootout. You remember the best 2 laps. I was talking to the Lithuanian commentator last night. He said he used to absolutely love it, the suspense and the tension of it. But I certainly know there were people that didn't love it. So
quite
what we're going
interesting.
to have
Yeah.
Q3 now, Jason, is going to be 15 minutes of running and unlimited laps. And we're going to hear from Dwight Benavente.
Last year's world champion, of course, the defending title holder. Let's see how he is
Everything
feeling.
go like you expected in the practice?
Yeah, it was okay. It was a good practice, a lot of laps, and everything went well, yes.
And how is the weather? Is like difficult to drive in there?
Yes, it is. It is a bit difficult, especially on the right-hander, on the yellow turn. The wind, the side wind is quite difficult to. It's quite difficult to manage, but it's the same for all of us.
And what is like the best way to manage the turn in there?
Use all our skills, all our experience, and try to gain or not to lose too much in that turn, because it's, in my opinion, one of the most vital parts of the course is that so it's those turns.
Jason, Benavente mentioned the wind. Now, we've been watching the stream for the last hour and a half, and we can see it does gust.
Yeah, it's meant to be gusting, actually. We checked the weather station. It's meant to be gusting up to about 15 miles an hour. So, yeah, this could play some part in qualifying. And certainly, if we recall, we've seen it in the past, and we see it in free practice, that it can catch drivers out sometimes. So we will be watching very, very closely. So there we have it on the screen
and
there.
Talking about the weather, yeah.
So it says average
25
speed.
degrees, although storms forecast tomorrow.
Yeah, let's see how that will affect the Grand Prix. But today, as we heard then from Benavente, now, of course, Benavente not only experienced, not only a world champion in Formula 2, but of course, missing out somewhat. Now, this is his second season absent from Formula 1. And I say absent from Formula 1. Formula 1 has been pretty much absent from powerboat racing, still with a few difficulties with COVID and everything else. So let's have a look then at the racecourse, John. There it is. So track length is 1,660 metres, and I can tell you that there's 7 turns. There's 6 left-hand turns, 1 right-hand turn. And when they actually do the race start tomorrow, the run up to the first turn, boy, will be 420 metres. So it's going to be an interesting race course. John, of course, you've seen boats go around this circuit. You were here last year at another event, so you've got a little bit more of a feel for the place than what I have.
Yeah, they held it for the OSY 400 GT15, GT30 European Championships last year when I was there. And that was a trial out, and there was the reason there was a lot of interest from the public. And obviously with COVID restrictions, they could only have it to 1,000 people, and there was a lot more people that wanted to come in. So the thought process is to hold this over a bank holiday weekend, which in Lithuania it is, with the public. And we can see the officials here, the UIM officials, Pelle Larsen, with Giacomo Borgano when he's back to us, and some of the radio people, Marit Stromoy there, who's on radio with Tobias Munthkath this weekend.
Yeah, it's a whole mixture of people in the radio. So just seeing to the left of the picture, slightly, we've just missed him there, but Jamie Stullard. Jamie, of course, is on the radio to Mette Björknes. Jamie, of course, an ex-Formula 3 world champion himself. So his knowledge and experience he brings to the team here for this opening round of the championships. And while we're talking about the championships, John, it's again with the COVID difficulties and restrictions and everything else. I mean, I know that we hopefully will have our restrictions announced a little bit later on today here in the UK and what that will mean. But certainly for the Formula 2 series, I mean, we're looking at after this round to go to Portugal for another 2 rounds.
Yes, I spoke to the Portuguese Federation president this morning. There was some talk about changing of dates over there, but it would appear that what will happen is the Ribadura race will happen before the Via Rodea race. That was going to clash on an election day, so that's his latest news, and we'll publish that on powerboatracingworld.com as soon as it's official. And 30 seconds to start here, Jason.
Yeah, and talking of Jason Brewer there, the official jetty marshal, he keeps everybody in order on that start pontoon, and it can get quite heated, as we all know at times. But if you're watching powerboat racing for the first time, you're going to enjoy this. This is going to be qualifying for tomorrow's Grand Prix. And certainly just reflecting back then on free practice, which gives you an indication, not necessarily the full story, but it does give you an indication on who's doing what. One or two surprises, John, for me. Certainly no surprise was the fastest man, which was, of course, Al Kremzi, who posted a 40.464 second lap. But it was Daniel's second mark, who was second fastest. There was only 3 drivers who went below the 41-second barrier. Second mark was second fastest, as I said, with a 40.88 second lap. And then just behind him, only slightly just behind him, with 40.89 was Tobias Montecas. So for me, John, I think those two of Tobias and second mark. Tobias, I think, a little bit of a wild card, I think that's been coming. Certainly second mark, though, a big, this could be a news drama of the day, I think.
Yeah, that was a good lap from him just towards the end of the session there in free practice. Tobias Montecas didn't surprise me. He did well here in 17 in the European Championship, so he knew the circuit. Don't know what happened to Edgaris Ryabko. He didn't put many in, and certainly wasn't as quick as I was expecting. I would have thought Ryabko would be up there this afternoon, but the 35 boat of the 2-time world champion Rashid Kemsi, I think he's going to be unstoppable.
Absolutely. Well, we're just talking about Ryabko, but Ryabko, of course, runner-up in last year's world championship. And big news, as we all know by now, the third position driver of last year's championship, Owen Jelf, is not here this weekend. And again, with various restrictions and no time to test the boat.
And coincidentally, he's just WhatsApped me as you said his name. He can't find the live stream address on YouTube. If someone would like to send Owen Jelf the live streamer link, that would be great.
Well, what we can tell you is that his brother was first out on the water onto the racecourse for this qualifying session. Now, the grid order, or the release order from the pits at least, was determined just by how they got back to the crane. Colin Jelf then, first out. Colin always likes to be in a qualifying situation first out onto the water when it used to be a free-for-all. So this is going to suit him absolutely bang on. But John, you know, he had his own dramas also in free practice this morning with an issue with his ECU on the engine. So he thinks he sorted it out. He doesn't know for sure because he hasn't had the seat time since they've tried to resolve the problem. But let's see.
And talking about that 2017 European Championship, Colin Jelf was telling the Lithuanian commentator yesterday that he had his biggest ever racing accident here on this water. It was the one he found to be the most unpleasant. So he's got a few things to think about coming into this event.
And Colin will be putting to the back of his mind his year from last year, back in 2020, when he had a couple of errors. He had one in Lithuania when we were in Kaunas last year, where he was leading the race, wiped out the turnbuoy, and effectively he was stopped one lap. And that wrecked his chances. And then when, you were there in Portugal, John, you can tell us about the Portugal Jelf experience.
Well, we were talking earlier, Benavente was mentioning wind last year in Portugal. Wow, when that wind came up, and if you probably remember, I was commentating, it blew my laptop off, my Coca-Cola, and then literally seconds later took Colin Jelf with it. So, yeah, that was tricky stuff. It's a real shame because Colin was looking quick at times last year.
So at the moment, we are just letting the boats just warm up. They just have a few laps just to get themselves positioned really on the racecourse, spread out a little bit. I guess really, John, at this point, being first out onto the water doesn't really count for anything because the water's already chopped up. and already becoming a little bit rougher than it was earlier on. Ideally, to set the fastest lap time, you want perfectly clear water. That's not happening at the moment, certainly not with 17 boats out there.
Yeah. Now, for those that haven't been to Kupiškis, this lake is in the middle of the country there, and it can be quite exposed down in parts, and I'm suspecting that's what Benevento was talking about. You can see the trees there, but behind on the other side of the course, it's very open. Just a small town, just 8,500 population in Kupiškis.
So we're just watching Uwe Slatteris there from Latvia, a long-seasoned campaigner in Formula 2. Actually, he had a podium position, didn't he, last year? So he will be looking to try and improve on that Mulgard of his, especially adapted. Uvis is a very, very tall young man, and he had to have the cockpit actually changed to adapt for his height. So a slightly unique Mulgard there for Uwe Slatteris. But this is the 2019 world champion, Rashid Al-Khamsi. So you know him, John. I mean, he's normally, you said earlier he was a man of few words, but how's he going to feel? He's quiet, isn't he?
Quietly confident, probably. They've had plenty of seat time in January back in Abu Dhabi in that boat.
Well, there we go. We've just seen the green flag go up. Kelly Larson, the race director, then waves the green flag. This means that the boats can now go for their hot laps. And it's a 20-minute time session from now. And, well, we'll just see who can do what in the early stages. But, yeah, it is important to get some good lap times in the bag. So Rashid then, I'll tell you what, John, it does seem quite windy there on that part of the race course. You just see the boat just twitching a little bit there from Rashid. He was the man who was the fastest in the free practice this morning. So we'll see, we'll get a time on him in a couple of laps' time. But John, I think at the moment, I think it's too busy to set anything ballistic out there at the moment.
Let's just wait for some times to pop up.
I mean, at the moment, Rashid is just getting involved in a bit of a tangle with Johan Osterberg. Johan Osterberg, who, again, just like Uwe Slatteris, a long-season campaigner in Formula 2. But they're having their own little tussle at the moment. Johan Osterberg, of course, from Sweden. So we're getting some times, and you can see the times just as clearly as what we can now. So there's the initial time then of 43.105 of Al-Khamsi.
Now, Rashid's free practice time this morning as a benchmark was 40.464.
Yeah, there were 3 drivers, wasn't there, underneath the 41-second barrier. Of course, Segermark was second fastest, and Montikas was third fastest, all underneath that 41-second. But Benevento, the world champion, was 4th fastest, and 5th fastest will do the top 5 from free practice, which was Ferdinand Zandbergen with a 41.432. That's how open practice was, free practice, but already the time's starting to come down as we look at Tobias now. 42.873 then for Montikas, so 42.873,
and
we
his
know
best
that he
this
can
morning,
go faster.
Yeah, his best this morning was a 41.505.
And of course, at the moment, there's, as I said earlier, probably to set anything decent, there's too many boats on the water. But I guess really it doesn't matter as long as you're not in the dropout zone. It doesn't matter too much on if you set an absolutely ballistic lap or not, but certainly Tobias is the fastest in this session so far.
I can't see many boats. The chappie just keeps focusing on pretty girls in deck chairs.
Well, there we have in the picture then the fastest driver of them all at the moment. And Mansouri is second fastest. Making the switch, of course, from the Victory team to the Abu Dhabi team for this season. Of course, the Abu Dhabi team were pretty much absent last year. But I get the feeling that this season they are going to be back with a vengeance. As we're just looking then once again at Monticas, who's now actually coming up just behind, well, Benevente's there, isn't he? Just on the left-hand side of him. The world champion.
This is his return to international racing after taking last year out from the World Championship. And he's back, and he's got Merit Stromoy on the radio. So, you think, Jason, that Tobias Muntcaf could be in for a good weekend, don't you?
Yeah, we were saying off there that I have him down as a little bit of a wild card because I think it's been coming. And yeah, I think certainly it could happen potentially for him this season. And certainly the free practice would suggest that. And certainly so far in this qualifying session, it would suggest that. But the surprise was second mark for me. Racing with a DAC boat, so second mark I think we're going to have to watch out for. Although currently he's down in 9th position at the moment, but that will change. That will definitely change. Well, John, we're looking at Zandbergen. What can he do? And John, Sammy Salio pretty much set that boat up last year because Ferdinand wasn't racing, but Salio was.
What was interesting with Zandbergen's time this morning, it was similar to where you would have thought Celio would have been driving the same hull from last season's results, so just slightly behind Benevente. Whether that tells us anything.
So we're just watching then, Giacomo's actually there. That's a prop change, John. This early stages of Q1, and already we're changing propellers, and of course they bring to the race course a whole host of propellers which will do various things. A bigger propeller will give you, of course, more top-end speed. The smaller props will give you more acceleration. To me, this looks like pretty much a top-end speed course because there's a fairly long straight, or the straights are fairly long. The right-hander's nothing too harsh. And
early days on the timing,
really.
Jason, early days on the timing, but if we have a look, Al Mansouri, the number 2 driver from Abu Dhabi, is in front of his number 1 driver, Rashid Al Kemsi. He's just popped in at 43.096.
Yeah, that's big news. In fact, Benevente 4th fastest, and Nikita Leaks, who have not really given a name check so far, but Nikita Leaks from also from Latvia then, who is 5th fastest with a 43.992, and they've been working with that boat, haven't they? The boat just to try and get it up to scratch the ASV then of Nikita Leaks, and it's a bit of an experimental boat really, but it's good to see him up there. Look at that, 5th fastest so far in this early session of Q1, and I say early, we are now 15 seconds away from it being 8 minutes into the 20-minute session here.
The Abu Dhabi drivers came over to Europe early, and they were testing last week on the River Po in Italy. Al Kemsi hit 190 kilometers an hour between the 2 gates on the last day.
That's dedication, and it does prove that it's all important really to do testing. and have seat time. Some of these drivers won't have hardly any seat time, if any, this season. So we'll just wait and see on if that's going to affect things. We're just looking at Bimba Shoham at the moment. She currently lays 11th fastest in boat number 11. So a little bit of work to do for Bimba at the moment. More propeller changes going on then in the pits. And one driver then, John, still to come out onto the racecourse is Uvas Latras. So Uvas then not posting any lap times so far, and we did see a shot very early on with him and the boat just on the start grid, not particularly moving anywhere.
Indeed. For British interest, it's 13th and 14th. Colin Jelf has posted a 45.008, and if you can say it's British, Brad Burton, this is running on a UK licence this season, and she's posted a 45.425.
Well, there is the UK entrant of Colin Jelf then. Made a pretty much a big comeback last season. Didn't quite go to plan, but certainly they were hoping for bigger and better things than for this year. But Colin Jelf then just waiting. He'll be waiting now really for some space on the water. And I don't think he's going to get it at the moment, as it seems busy. And there is the ASB boat I was talking to you about. Number 71 of Nikita Leaks, a former Formula 4 driver. Made the step up a few years ago into Formula 2, the young Latvian superstar. But I think, Johnny, it's going to be an up-and-coming driver, Nikita Leaks. But he's currently laying 7th fastest now, so he's dropped down 2 places. But, John, look at Edgar
He's putting a lot
Riemko.
into it. Riemko now in 5th, 43.872. They're halfway through the session, halfway through Q1.
Well, we're just looking at the timing screen, and there is second mark actually. A nice shot of him, and then we move to Colin Jelf. That's Colin, way down there in 13th position at the moment with a 45.008 for Colin Jelf. But second mark out there, 4th fastest now, 43.287 for second mark. But John, I guess the main key factor is that he is safe at the moment. He will go through to Q2.
Yes, you've got to be pretty unlucky to be unsafe, haven't you, this afternoon? Because obviously 15 going through out of 17. So we've got to find out, obviously, with Uvis, why he hasn't posted a time.
Well, Edgaros Riabko back to the pits, the local man. And I've always felt that when we're in Kunas, certainly for his home Grand Prix in previous years, the pressure's been on. He's racing in his hometown. I guess the pressure still is on because he is still pretty much the local man. He's the Lithuanian F2 representative out there on the water.
It's a huge amount of responsibility for him one of these weekends. The organising he does is insane, to be honest with you. His phone never stops messaging or ringing. I'm amazed how he keeps his head. And at the European Championships in Kupiškis last year, at the end of it all, he was then serving pints in the tent. He really is, never stops. He doesn't pour a pint, though. I did pull him up on that.
And of course, that's a new boat for him for this season as well, John. You were telling me again off air. So he's probably getting used to that hull as well, and it's different aero package on the front of the boat. I think even the cowling at the back seems a little bit different as well. So
Yes. He thinks it's 1 second quicker than his old DAC. Proofs could be in the pudding on that.
well, at the moment, he drops down to 7th. So who's gone faster? Well, let's have a look at the top 5. So
we actually now got
still...
Tobias Cass as quickest on the day. He's pulled out a 42.873, but still off his best of this morning. So let's be aware of that. So then, and we've just lost an Abu Dhabi boat there, Jason.
Yeah, I just got the end of that. So who was that? So
I can't see that. 35 or 36.
And we're looking now for the number, and you will see it just exactly the same time as us and I.
Our driver's out, which is all good.
It's at 35. It's Rashid has lost
Rashid
it.
Al Khamsi, 2-time world champion, rolls out of qualifying. Well, that's a surprise, isn't it?
That's a big story for powerboat racing world, isn't it? Because
it's a big story for powerboat racing.
It is, because the fastest man on this racecourse.
Someone asked me just before quali, who did I think would crash out? And that would have been the last person I would have replied.
Well, we can see there, and that's the good thing, that he is okay. Crash helmet off, balaclava is off.
Yeah.
He's now explaining exactly what happened.
Great pictures. Well done to the TV guys here. Because that's what we want to see is the driver. Look at that. Driver absolutely fine.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
And
he still looks cool as a cucumber despite having a big accident. As he, well, there's the sad sight of his boat, the DAC 35 Abu Dhabi team boat then of Rashid Al Khamsi. And you can see that there's a flotation airbag, of course, just at the back of the cockpit then. Being deployed, which means, of course, that had he have been stuck in the boat, he would have been clear of the water, and that's exactly what is supposed to happen. He's now walking back, I guess, to be checked over. So we may be even able to grab possibly an interview with Rashid. So we'll just see. It's at the moment. We'll just look at the rescue. Right, yeah. So. Okay, we were going to go for an interview then, but of course he's got to go and be checked over first. But he'll, John, I think, probably not be in the very best of moods to have in his face.
The director's just told us that Rashid didn't want to speak to the cameraman there, or the interviewer, which we can fully understand. That must be a crushing blow, and team manager Guido Cappellini will be having a look at that incident again and again and again, because you'd slightly have to say, just on the first look I saw, yeah, we're getting replays now, but let's have a look.
Here we go, let's have a look then what happens. So we see, so we're into the corner. Oh, and did he trip over Johan Osterberg there, John?
Yeah, but did Osterberg come into him?
Look, oh no, he's just got collected, I think, by Osterberg, didn't he? Rashid minding his own business, and Osterberg collects him. Another angle.
No, you see, if you look at it from that angle, it's all about perspective, isn't it?
Yeah. Wow. So that is big news indeed. So he didn't have an accident on his own. It was a two-boat affair. As we watch again from the rear view, Osterberg goes into the corner, and Rashid is there.
It looked like he was outside of the course.
Yeah. So it certainly would be a rare mistake from Osterberg to collect someone. Osterberg, a very safe driver. And the question is
Osterberg was on a quick lap there, Jason. Well, we can debate this one all afternoon.
There were just over 5 minutes remaining, incidentally, in the session. Osterberg, who was 14th fastest. His fastest time of Q1 being 44.616. But the question is, both of those boats involved, are they badly damaged? Are they fixable? And it's not even so much about the boats, it's sometimes the engines. Engines don't like getting wet at the best of times. Of course, we all know that they've got the ECUs as well. That's Jason Brewer then sorting everybody out then.
Jason,
he's had a busy day.
What Alkemzi and Cappellini are going to be mindful of here, this is only going to be a 3-race world championship, and you don't need to be starting from back of the grid on one of the rounds, do you?
Absolutely not. Yeah, that's a big blow for Cappellini and his team as the boat gets towed back. I mean, the good thing is, these, and it's all of the boats that race here in the UIM series. They're all immensely strong. And the DAC, one of the best boats that money can buy, and hopefully, like I say, hopefully the hull is not damaged or not too badly damaged. We all know that boats can be fixed. It's the question, as I said, of the engine and the components inside.
Yeah. Now, you and I, we're hooked up in quite a lot of these Facebook groups, and one of them is with decisions of what's happening on the water. So hopefully as soon as we hear if there's any decision on that, we'll let you guys know. But we are doled into various people over there.
Well, of course, in the meantime, we are just on a hold, just until we get the release from the pits, and it will be the remaining time left, which, as I said, will just be over 5 minutes in this qualifying session in Q1. It's Alec.
Well, Alec's getting a tan, isn't he?
He is. He's basically the safety officer. Has a lot of involvement in Formula 2 as a whole, but certainly I know he put together the DIB rescue team. As we look at the shots then of Johan Osterberg, Jonathan Brewer there from the UK, just hooking the boat onto the crane.
So that's the side that hit, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Now, was Rashid coming out of the pits? Because that's what it kind of looked like, didn't it?
Hmm.
Was he coming out of the pits?
We've got an interview coming up.
So what happened?
Well, I don't know. I was chasing. I don't remember who it was, but I got caught in his spray and had to go through it. And after that, it's a boom, and Rashid was there. So I'm totally sorry for him, but I had no chance to see him.
So you lost the control of the boat?
Yeah, definitely. So
didn't see the other boat
No.
Before?
No. So unfortunately, shit happens, but it wasn't the plan for this year, or for this season. So.
And how is the boat right now? It is hard to fix it to come back to qualifications.
No, probably tomorrow we definitely will race. If not, the complete structure is gone. But hopefully we'll race tomorrow. So.
Thank you very much and good luck.
Interesting words then, John, from Johan Osterberg. Feeling that
Didn't sound too good at that. He's done damage on that boat as well. So,
and it is just worth pointing out that, the visibility in these boats, and hopefully we'll have some onboard shots throughout the weekend, is really not that great. I mean, you're cocooned in to your safety cell only with that perspex screen. So, John, let's just have another look at this and just see if we can work out what exactly happened. Was Osterberg to blame? Was there a boat unexpectedly there?
Got aerial now.
Speed. No, yeah, he went through the spray, didn't he? Of group temper, just didn't. Yeah. So now we see the bigger picture Now we see the bigger picture then of Osterberg going through the spray of root temper, and Rashid was there, wasn't he, to be collected. So now let's have a look. There's the spray. He's gone through the spray. Now had Rashid come out of that pit lane? Is also the question.
It was as he said, wasn't it? He went through the spray blind.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Ouch.
And as you go through the spray, that grey boat would not have been visible at all. It's only for a split few seconds, but it's like having snow blindness almost. You can't see a thing.
But I mean, you talk about seconds, just a few seconds later, he's jumping on the jet ski and getting back to the dock, and that's just what you want to see, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's great credibility to safety cells. It's great credibility to Cappellini, who's developed this DAC boat over many, many, many years now, and it's done its job, and that's what we want to see.
He even took the cowl with him. Incredible.
Right, so now let's hear from Rashid Al-Kramzi.
Can you tell me more about the crash, how it happened?
I was waiting to do a clear lap. I was on the side of the course, like on the red buoy, on the limit of the course, and finally I see this guy inside my boat, and I flip over. I don't know his fault, by mistake, but important we are all okay, and we'll try to race tomorrow.
So there is a hope to see you tomorrow on the boat racing with other pilots, yeah?
Yes, we have two pilots, me and Mansour. If my boat not working, I wish all the luck for Mansour.
So they are going to fix your boat for tomorrow's race, like for all the night?
Yeah, we'll check. Depends on what damage has in the boat, and I hope the boat is okay so I can race tomorrow.
Thank you very much, and we hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Well, John, he says that he might be out tomorrow, so let's keep our fingers crossed that we see the 2 times world champion back out on the racecourse here in Lithuania.
Yeah, and Abu Dhabi, incredibly, are now counting on Mansouri, the F4S world champion in 2017. They're counting on him for pole position on his debut for driving for the team.
No pressure then?
Absolutely none at all. He came from the Victory team, the neighbour of Abu Dhabi, and on his very first weekend has seen the #1 2-time world champion crash out of contention. Now we're still under yellow, obviously, for this session. We'd got 14 minutes 48 seconds done before when that happened.
Yeah, we're just waiting now for, I think, just this boat to be cleared, I guess, off the crane. So Giacomo Sacchi then, we're just looking at him, boat number 74, 8th fastest in the earlier session of free practice after an hour. But Sacchi then, just looking at his overall time in this Q1, and he was 10th fastest, with his fastest time being 44.312. And we can now see then, John, the boat's just waiting patiently now in anticipation for the final 5 minutes of Q1. Of course, Root Temper there, again making another comeback into Formula 2. And there's the man, Mansouri then, who the pressure will be on from Capellini for the Abu Dhabi team. Now, I guess, John, they're getting them in some kind of order now to be released so we can get the session underway.
Mm-hmm.
Friabko watching Ferdinand Zandbergen come in to the pits. So you watch Lars Andresen then. Now, what's Friabko doing? He's getting back in the boat. He's strapped in. All these drivers strapped in. Will be getting himself ready. On go the belts.
So we've got 15 boats left remaining. So whatever happens, the 15 on the water here will go through to Q2.
Yeah, so the pressure's off everybody really, and then it will all be down to Q2, where we just pick out the 6 fastest boats from that Q2 session. And if it was as Q1, well, that'd be quite interesting, wouldn't it? Because it would be Zandbergen, Benavente, Stegenmark. It wouldn't be Rashid Al-Khenzi, but it would be Monsuri and it would be Tobias. And I guess
we've gone green now, Jason.
Carlos Riabko. So, John, how are they going to play this final 5 minutes? Are they just going to go around and... Because, as you say, they've all gone through to Q2. As a driver, would you risk anything in these 5 minutes? I'm not sure I would if I was guaranteed to go through.
This is now all about Q2, isn't it?
It is. It certainly will be. So just watching Uvas Latras, and Uvas then really having a bit of a miserable day at the moment. The slowest boat on the water, really, with his best time is a 45.377.
And we were talking about drivers running under the British or the Union flag. Better Burtness has just gone quicker than Colin Chelf. Burtness has posted a 44.321. Chelf is still on a 44.360.
So yeah, Giacomo Sacchi then, third fastest, 43.024 for Giacomo.
Giacomo is very determined this season, Jason. I saw him in Italy a few weeks ago. He had a steely determination about him, about this season.
Well, I think he's just proved his point a little bit there then, because, third fastest and didn't need to post in that time, not really. As we say, all these boats will go through to Q2. And Coniston Eustonov is also on the move, fifth fastest, 43.239 from Ustinov. Boat number 20, our Russian driver. So drivers are really on the move. Bimber, she's seventh fastest now. And Colin Chelf goes fifth fastest.
Yeah.
So 43.2.
43.214. Nikita Leaks just goes in front of him into 5th. Time's coming down nicely.
Yeah, so we thought actually then it was going to be a tame end to Q1, but the times are coming down. They're getting faster. Will there be any more changes? With just 2 minutes remaining now in Q1 left to go. Ryabko sits there at the moment watching it all happen in front of him. Doesn't need to worry too much, although he is 13th fastest. Now we expect to see more from Ryabko. Hopefully in Q2, where he'll move right up the timing scores. But certainly he is 13th fastest at the moment.
Ryabko looking to go out for another lap or two.
Yeah, he should just squeeze. Well, he'll probably get his flying lap just squeezed in, I would imagine, by the time he's got round. So let's see as we now watch Edgaros Ryabko with the 2.5 litre Mercury Optimax engine on the back, as all of these boats, in fact, powered by the Mercury Optimax. Will perhaps go into the engines later on, perhaps either in this session or well, not in this session, but maybe later on this afternoon or maybe tomorrow morning. But interesting developments coming soon, I guess, really, for Formula 2, with the looks to change engine design as such, still from Mercury, but we won't get ourselves tangled up in that conversation at the moment, because we are watching local man, Lithuanian Edgaros Ryabko in the 2019 design DAC. John, that wind is still there. Look at the leaves and the trees there.
Yeah. That's what Benevente was warning about us earlier.
So we're coming to the conclusion then of Q1, and it's been very, very exciting to watch. A lot of drama, a lot of developments, with Tobias Mofkas then the fastest of them all, with a 42.873 second lap. He'd done it on lap 2. In fact, he's only done 8 laps in the whole session.
And
so
Jason,
he was pretty confident.
The top 12, Jason, the top 12 boats are all within 1 second of each other. I just worked that out on my calculator.
It's a very, very close run thing, isn't it? So
yeah, really.
And this is the excitement of Formula 2, that everyone, obviously, it's all the same engine manufacturers. It is making for a very, very close competition. It makes for a close World Championship Series. We would probably this morning took an educated guess that Rashid was going to put it on pole. He's now not really in the running for the pole position, as he is going to be sitting out the rest of today's action, starting potentially at the back of the grid tomorrow. And that's it. Pelly Larson blows the whistle. Our race director red flags then, which signifies the end of Q1. John, in one sentence, just review that.
Yeah, well, that was unexpected. There you go. One word rather than a sentence. Unexpected. Yeah.
Unexpected.
The fallout of that incident is going to be interesting. And I think probably best we leave it like that. We'll see what the officials deem was the final judgment on that Osterberg Rashid Al-Khemzi incident. But we have got a Q2 to look forward to, with 12 boats that are incredibly evenly matched. And we have got a wide open World Championship by the looks of things in 2021.
So, there you can see on the screen then, that is the results from Q1. We'll just have a look in a moment at some of the highlights of that first qualifying session. There you go, Rosriatko then. Feeling the pressure, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Great. Absolutely great. Some good shots, really good shots.
Yeah, your camera work on and well done on so many different angles on the accident. That's going to be very healthy for the officials. I suspect they'll be asking you for them, will they? Yeah, I'm sure. It was the aerial shot that gave it to you, really. Once you saw the aerial shot, it was a different perspective of what had happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So, John, we have a look then at the results from qualifying one. That, I guess, was tough on some, easy on others, but it did mean that most of them did make it through then to Q2. But this is the important one, isn't it? Because this is the one that we have to get down to 6 votes. But in the meantime, let's hear from our race director, Henry Larsson.
I want to ask, can you tell me more about the crash? How did it happen?
Well, I mean, this is part of the race that's happened. There's nothing we could do about it. And I will first, before I say something, I need to look at the video and see what's happened there.
Do you think it was hard to see the opponent which was coming through other boats?
Well, I mean, Johan was passing in the spray, and on the outside was on Mansouri. So, but let me have a look on the video first, because before I say anything more.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Henry Larsson, of course, an ex-Formula One driver himself, so he knows exactly the score when it comes to powerboat racing. And of course, Pelle Larsson has been involved in being an official for many years now, a race director himself and Giacomo Borganovi. Putting the show
Jason,
pretty much together.
Our television director was just telling me that Pelle's going to look at all of the various angles, and it was really rather fortunate, according to our Lithuanian television director, that they caught the incident. They've got it from 4 different camera angles, so that's what Pelle Larsson will now be casting his Swedish eyes over.
So the question is, John, do we see a much calmer session in Q2 when it's all to play for? That's a tough question, but they need to be thinking a little bit about what they're doing, because they all need to stand a chance of not only getting through to Q2, but they need to make sure that they have boats that a boat to take to the race tomorrow.
Yeah. And they'll be sitting there now just seeing how very close it is between them all, so they'll all think they've got a chance.
We'll talk about Q3 when we get there, but with 6 boats, it will mean that the water will be a lot calmer. And then I think we're really going to see the times come down, possibly even under the 40-second barrier, perhaps.
You optimistically think we'll have 6 boats?
Well, I'd like to think so, but at this rate, who knows? They've all got to behave themselves. They all need to just take a deep breath and keep calm. Although that's a little bit hard to do at 120 miles an hour, I guess, but we are almost ready to go for Q2. Let's see what stories unfold. I'm sure there's going to be lots of drama, lots of tension, lots of excitement coming up very shortly, John, as the first boats then get released from the jetty. And of course they will be released in position order from Q1, which means, of course, that Tobias Mupkas, then we've already seen him released from the pits, followed by Mansouri, the sole Abu Dhabi driver, and Giacomo Sacchi then, third boat to be released from the pits. And also Stegan Mark, 4th boat there then. Nikita Leaks will be the next boat, minus, of course, Al Kremzi, Garos Ryabko, Colin Jelf, Ustinov, Shoham, Benevente, Zandbergen, and Rid Temper with Lars Anderson and Meti Buknes just following the final 2 then. Edgaros Ryabko. Let's see the true performance now, John, of Edgaros Ryabko. He needs to make it into Q3.
He's got to pop a time in, hasn't he? Didn't do it this morning in free practice. Didn't really see a turn of speed from him there in Q1. Would be nice to see him up the top of the board at some point.
Yeah, he needs to do something special. He needs that special lap. Yeah, as you said, we have not seen it yet. Nikita Leaks, I think, is worth keeping an eye on. Certainly. 6 fastest in that Q1 session. More to come from the Latvian DAC combo. ASV. And Benevente then, so Duarte then ended up, what was he, 11th fastest in Q1? And that's the defending world champion. Right down there But I guess he was. Sean Taranto always calls him Mr. Steady, doesn't he? So, Sean, if you're watching, we are watching Mr. Steady, but he's being a little bit too steady at the moment and needs to improve on that time. And of course, go up with Formula One experience behind his belt, as some of the others, of course, have. Colin Shelf back in the day, back in the 90s, also dabbled in Formula One along with Owen Shelf. Colin himself, a 3 times world champion. 8th fastest though in Q1 this morning. Say this morning, it was actually this afternoon. It was actually about 15 minutes ago, wasn't it? As we look at Tobias.
I'm getting airsick.
Well, I was kind of about to say, John, that these are absolutely awesome shots that we're getting here from our Lithuanian production company, and certainly some very, very unique angles that we're watching.
Yeah, certainly some stunt drone flying.
Yeah.
Drone.
And we're almost riding on board now. So the boats then are just getting themselves warmed up. We are waiting for the official whistle then, the official release, the official green flag from Pelle Larsson, who will inform us that Q2 is underway as we look at route temper.
Well, I was looking at that DAC. Yeah, that's the first time I've really had a good look at it. This the brand latest thinking from Cappellini's DAC company.
I guess the question is it going to work for Rupert? There's the whistle, and here we go then. So this is now 15 minutes of qualifying Q2 then, and away we go. John, this is where it's all going to count now, isn't it?
Indeed. You've got to get into the top 6, haven't you? A short World Championship, every position is going to count.
Yeah, and as you say, with the short 3 round championship, it means that mistakes like getting entangled in someone else's problem is going to cost you dearly.
Footage we're getting now, Tobias Wolfkas, Bubba Hull, absolutely flying it, wasn't he, against the wind?
Yeah, it seems to like the conditions. He's backed off a bit there. He was getting a bit close to route temper as Mansouri goes fastest at the moment in this early stages, and it is early because we're only 1 minute 15 seconds into it. But Mansouri does go fastest with 42.673, with Saki in second, and second mark third fastest. Now there is something interesting, John. So Benavente, 42.993 for Benavente, the world champion, is coming back.
And the man making his debut for Team Abu Dhabi currently leads the leaderboard.
Yeah, Mansouri then at the top of that timing sheet at the moment. Second mark down in fourth, 43.152. What's happening with Wolfkas is, well, he's right down there 10th fastest at the moment, 46.135. But we don't need to look at that with too much detail at the moment. But at the moment, certainly Matti Björknes needs to do something special. Lars Andresen needs to do something pretty special. Montikassen has now gone a little bit faster. He now puts himself 6th fastest now with a 43.320.
Jason, bearing in mind the fastest time in free practice this morning was 40.464, and Al Mansouri has posted a 42.673. So I think we are still quite a way off where some of those drivers want to be.
Yeah, I think either late part of this session, the times will go down, but certainly in Q3, I am expecting to see the times right down there into the, well, I predicted, didn't I, underneath the 40-second barrier, possibly in the end. Has
yes,
the
I think
wind
we
picked
said
up
earlier,
more?
didn't we? We said earlier if Rashid had been out there, he might have popped in a 39 something.
We've got a lot of slow boats on the water at the moment, just trying to pick some space, with Benavente being one of them. Mansouri also up there trying to find some space out there on the racecourse. Doesn't particularly need to at the moment, as he's right there at the top.
I'm just wondering what kind of a job this is for the radio men and the radio woman, Marit Stromoy, to find that space for the drivers.
Yeah,
and I think that's going to be particularly, yeah, that's going to be a particularly interesting in Q3. You've just got to find that space to get that lap.
Yeah, not only are they in radio contact, but yeah, I guess they are spotters, because they're going to get a more...
and we got quite a pleasant sight on the timing screen, Jason. Bimber, she's gone second fastest, and she's posted a 42.735. So that's great to see.
That's the fastest time of the day, so that's great stuff. So that boat then, and she would have had her confidence knocked after her dreadful season last year, where she was actually leading the Lithuanian Grand Prix after Colin Jelf wiping out the turn point. And she got involved in an accident, and then again in Portugal. So it's good to see her back on form.
Yeah, lost none of her speed, which is super, and she's currently in front of Benavente, whose best is 42.993.
So far, Group Temper is in the safe zone, being the sixth fastest. So we're just over, well, we're now going up to nearly 6 minutes now into the 15-minute session. But Group Temper then 43.184. But we know that Tobias is quicker than that.
Yeah, but he's in seventh, and he's got to do the job. And also Ryabko in eighth.
Still waiting for something special then, really, from Agaras Ryabko.
Yes.
And I'm wondering how late in the day is he going to leave it? So there we go, just having a look around the race course. And now we find Benavente, third fastest at the moment, in the Moore boat. I mean, John, you've seen, so have I, but you've seen the Moore hole, particularly up close. I always think it looks a very, very small hole in comparison to the likes of the Babber and the DAC.
Yes, I thought Stoddart's, the one that went over this morning, brand new, latest design from David Moore, looked even smaller. I don't know whether that was just from the screen, but yeah, I certainly know what you mean. We were watching Sam Whittle yesterday racing a Bubba, an ex-Formula One Bubba who's racing in F2. That looks far, far bigger, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just watching Agaras' crew, watching Agaras, and they're talking to him. They are, as you said earlier, about trying to find a place on the water for him, just finding some space, which I think is going to be very difficult at the moment. So also what Q2 will do, it will determine the bottom half of the grid from 7th down to 18 if all the boats end up running tomorrow. The top 6 drivers going through to Q3 to decide that top 6 positions. And at the moment, drivers in the safe zone as we're over halfway through the session. So Monsuri is quick. Bimbashohome is safe and through. Benavente will be safe and through. Giacomo Sashi will be safe and through. And John, look at this, because is this the special lap we were looking for from Riako? Because he now goes 5th fastest, 43.112, and that puts him safe, with second mark being the 6th fastest and would be guaranteed to go through.
You think? I'm still not so sure, Jason.
Yeah, because if you look at history, we know,
You've got Tobias behind, Temper behind, Nikita can put one in, Colin can. This is all to play for.
And with the times all being so very, very close, yeah, this is a very, very unpredictable Q2. Currently 9 minutes 20 seconds into it, and we are watching the sole Abu Dhabi driver topping that timesheet at the moment, 42.673, fastest time on his first lap. At the moment, currently only done 8 laps in Q2, but now, Sandbergen. What a surprise then, 42.464, and Sandbergen just nails a good lap in there. And Ferdinand then finds himself in top of the leaderboard in Q2. How about that?
Yeah, knocking out Mansouri. So 5 minutes to go of this session. And this is going to be a rather important 5 minutes, I feel.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Well, you're just watching then the shots of Ferdinand Sandbergen. That boat raced last year, of course, by Sami Salio, who I think has had a lot to play in setting up, well, not only the team, obviously, but that boat in particular. And Sandbergen enjoying that top spot in Q2 for the moment. Not that he needs an answer, but has Monsuri got an answer for that? And so Lars Andersson getting in the way a little bit there, but Lars is actually currently laying in 12th and will drop out if he does not improve his time. Lars, of course, in 63 in the red boat, 44.088 is his fastest lap, and at the moment is not good enough to put him through to Q3, the final of the qualifying sessions. Just watching then Mansouri as we now look at the down view of Tobias. Still out on the course as we now go into the 12th minute of qualifying. 3 minutes remaining, John. And Agaras Riabko is in the danger zone, really. He's 6th fastest. He needs to do something a little bit more, as you quite rightly said earlier. 43.112 is only just good enough at the moment.
Yeah, Colin Jelf is going to be disappointed with this in 12th. That's, you said he had electric issues this morning. That may be continuing.
Oh, we're just wandering down the jetty at the moment with Mike Gorman, part of the Ritz team, part of the JRM team, the two-boat team. Of course, they lost one boat in crew practice this morning, Robin Stoddard. But Mike, of course, is a former driver himself back in the UK in the 90s when he used to race F4. And and of course F2 back in 1998. But Mike Gorman, prior to that and even afterwards, continues to sport powerboat racing under the various sponsors. Rips, of course, being the main one, and has been seen on boats for many, many years. Of course, if you remember back in Formula One days, of course, Pelly Brolin and Dean Stoddard both carrying that sponsorship. But now it's the turn of Robin Stoddard and Mette Björknes to carry the banner. But of course, Mette's got a big team behind with a lot of experience, a lot of former UK drivers. Of course, we know that Jamie Stallard is there, and also Paul Balfour, an ex-Formula 2 British champion, multiple British champion in actual fact. Retired from racing a couple of seasons ago, but still continues to support powerboat racing. John, we've got 1 more minute left. What's going to happen?
Well, surprisingly, not much has happened in the last 4. So we've got Ryabko out on the course. Can he do something? Can he surprise us? But seeing Zandbergen leading or topping the timing board is, I think none of us would have said that.
Yeah, that was the shock news of Q2. The shock news of Q1 was losing
and Ryabko goes up to 3rd there, Jason. Ryabko up to 3rd. He posts, and as he does that, he drops to 4th because Segenmark now on the quickest.
15 seconds left now in Q2, and my goodness, Ryabko was leaving it.
Starting to eat into the early 42.08.1 there. Ryabko still out there. Then. And that's the checkered flag.
Benavente then just saved it. He was 6th fastest. He was really in that danger zone, but he just managed to secure 6th position. 5th then was Bimba Shoham then. Good to see her in the top 5. That's going to do her confidence a great deal of good. Ryabko 4th fastest. Mansuri, who set the initial pace really, 3rd fastest. Then Zandenberg and Zandbergen, who again was at the top of the leaderboard for a little bit, but Segenmark.
Big surprise in that session, Jason. Biggest surprise, I think, was seeing Tobias Munthkath in 9th. We thought he was going to do extremely well here, but clearly didn't get into the top 6 for Q3.
What has happened there to Tobias? Something big, because I mean, we know the boat is faster, we know that he was quick, we know that he can do it, but he has not done it. And a lot of other names who are hanging around at the bottom end of the timing board jumped up there within that last few minutes, really. It's Lars Andersen and Unistov there, now ending their session. Andersen then just being towed back, so whether he's run out of fuel, because I guess really, John, they would have fueled these boats up to perfection to get as much out of them as possible, which is possibly why we are seeing the lap times come down a little bit towards the end of the session.
Yes, possibly so. So that session, Segenmark, Zandbergen, Al Mansuri. Wow, that's an interesting combination that I certainly would have come up with this morning. 993. So for the world champion to just get into the Q3, that really puts it in perspective, doesn't it?
Certainly does. As I said, I wasn't expecting Sandbergen to be up there into, certainly not into second.
We got a highlight.
At some of the highlights.
And we got Jason Brewer coming up, the pontoon marshal.
Can you evaluate the qualification? How did it go?
It's been very good qualifying so far. There was a bit of an incident in the first round with one of the favourites, Rashid. But so far everything's been very good. We've got 6 boats left and it should be quite an exciting last session.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Short but sweet from Jason.
Yeah, he's had a busy day so far, but officially give his title as the jetty marshal actually for this year, just recently. So good to see. Good to see Jason still supporting powerboat racing in a big way. And
it's never good to see him in shorts, though.
We've seen him in shorts on many occasions, but
and commented on it on many occasions too.
What was that phrase you used? I can't remember now. You can remind me.
No.
Well, Colin Jelf, as you said, he'll feel a little bit disappointed with that, but I guess a little bit of work to be done by the crew there to try and get him into that next session. to the Grand Prix because he's not in the.
Petty Larson's got the flag in hand. So we're getting ready for this final 15-minute time session. And I think this is all about just keeping an eye on the timing screen.
So this is it then. This is Q3 then, John, with second mark. First released out of the pits, but they're going to mill around really, I guess, for just a couple of minutes before we go into that all-important Q3 session.
It was nice just to get a picture there of Dick Emery. Hello, sailor. Just had a shot.
Of course, just in the highlights, we had a look at the celebrations in the pit tent, in the Radio Man tent, really, of Edgaris's team. They were pleased that he got through and was managed to achieve fourth fastest. So Riabko, as we look, is there still more to come from the new boat for him? We will wait and see, but certainly he's managed fourth fastest so far to get into that Q3. This is Q3 itself, as we just wait for it to officially start. 15 minutes of action, 6 boats on the water. There's going to be lots of space, and this is where the times will get down. Certainly below the 42-second barrier. Certainly, I would imagine, below the 41-second barrier. But the question is, who will get that all-important pole position for tomorrow's race? So, John, the conditions, as we all know, play a big part in powerboat racing.
Yes, and we both just had the same text message. This breeze keeps getting gusting, doesn't it?
The long-range forecast for today was gusts of up to 15 miles an hour. I guess that they possibly might even increase a little bit more, but you don't mind if the wind is consistent, but it is the gusts that can catch you out as a driver, you know, and they've got to be on it. They've got to be 101% on it all the time, just playing caution to the wind, and they can do that by adjusting the angle of the engine on the back of the boat. It's done on buttons and foot control, really, but we will see what happens as we've gone green, John, and away we go for Q3.
So the wind is blowing from right to left if you're looking from the pontoon, looking down the course. That's the direction.
Yeah, so that's really sort of between turn 2 and 3 as I look at the map. So yeah, that could make the boat a little bit hard to handle at the bottom end of the race course. Just wait and see how the drivers handle it, but this is where they're really going to be flying now in this Q3 session. It's to really decide the top 6 spots on the grid. The rest of them have already...
Jason, this is very interesting because Segermark's first time has come up at 41.592. So Zandberg has posted a 41.128. So we're in the 41s. Yeah,
so already we're going to go faster and possibly even faster still. Sandberg, and then the man who is the person to beat so far for the pole position. And this is going to be a very, very fast 15 minutes.
And currently the Abu Dhabi man, Mansour Al Mansouri, he's off the pace with a best of 42.520. Benavente third quickest with 41.655. Second mark just coming out of that. Apparently there's a bit of wind there on that Mark 2, so you saw that him pick that up.
Yeah, so we'll watch closely there. But the drivers will have to pay caution to the wind on that part of the race circuit. As we said, it's a 7-buoy course, really. 6 left-hand turns, 1 right-hander. On the return straight, really, there's a slight kink in it, which effectively will be turn 1 at the start of the Grand Prix itself. As we watch second mark. Riabko still sits there at the moment on the jetty, just waiting for the right time. Now, that's not good news. Look at this, John. Bimbashoho.
It's broken down, yeah. So she doesn't manage to record a time, very sadly. And now she has some form of technical issue. So that will see her start from 6th for the Grand Prix of Lithuania tomorrow.
Yeah, but let's hope whatever that issue is resolved. Because they've done well to even put a boat on the water here for this first opening round. And it was good to see a result come through to get through to Q3, but it looks like, as you say, John, that Q6, or not Q6, but P6 is the best that she can do in this session.
With organiser and racer Riabko still sitting on the dock, waiting to post a time. What does he know? Does he know the wind will drop?
Yeah, they'll definitely be waiting for the right minute. Let the others have their mad 5 minutes, and then we'll see something special, I think, really, from Riabko. And effectively his home Grand Prix, just a few miles from he's in his home country. Event organiser, race driver, man of many, many talents, and has made this all possible to... his enthusiasm's unbelievable, really. You've got to be enthusiastic enough to put a race team together, let alone to put a race event on, and to do it all successfully. That takes a very, very special person. Let's just hope that Riabko will enjoy it as much as our spectators are enjoying it.
Yep, looks like she was charging her battery.
Currently watching Missouri then. But as we go into the 5th, with 10 minutes
Jason,
remaining.
Have you noticed with Mansouri how much more flighty he is in Q3?
Yeah, now is that because he can afford to be a little bit more flighty with less boats on the water, or is it because of the wind?
Yeah, it looks like a different boat than Q1.
Right, Riabko then. Garos Riabko exits the pits. Probably won't do too many laps, so this is going to be something short and sweet, I think, from Riabko, John.
Well, his fans are cheering from the banks of the Kupiskis lagoon.
Yeah, he has a lot of fans, of course. He of the fan club of Edoras Ryabko. Is he going to reward them with a provisional pole position? That would be nice, wouldn't it, in his home country, to just grab that pole position. The man who finished second in the World Championships last year wants to put a firm stamp on 2021. And it will really start here now. Zandbergen gets out of the way. So now Ryabko has a clear run. So John, this is Ryabko's flying lap. Let's just talk him round it then. So here we go. Ryabko with it all to play for, currently 5th. If things stand as they are, he needs to improve that to move up the grid. Exits the turn. You can see then the boat, it looks fairly stable actually on the water. Not as airborne as you said as Missouri, who was really flying the boat earlier. But this is looking at, now flat and level is normally pretty fast. But is it fast enough?
It's only a 42.129. Which is the slowest of the 5.
He's giving it another go, so does he have any more left in the tank, or is that it? Is that the maximum from the engine? Is it the maximum from the boat? Is it the maximum from the prop and the driver? We wait and see as he is on another flyer, but yeah, no, he's slowed down, John. He said, yeah, that's not good enough.
What I'm interested in is how the people at home, like ourselves, are enjoying this new qualifying session, because obviously the shootout has been dropped. Do they think this is a better way of dealing with it, the Q3? I'm in the camp where, to be honest with you, I like the shootout. I thought that was fun. We could sit there, just watch the drivers go out one by one, see their time pop up. But now, it slightly seems to have taken the spectacle away from it. Still, that's my view. So,
yeah.
What's yours?
No, I think I'm with you on that. I think with the shootout, you know, you do get to see the driver and the machine together as one, and you get the maximum out of that boat and the driver with clear water. Yeah, so for me, I think it's a shootout all the way. Be interesting to see if they stick
Jason, I remember we were in Konus a couple of years ago, and all the pressure was on Rashid Al-Khemsi to post a top time. And it was huge pressure. He went out there and nailed it. And that was very special, wasn't it? Do you remember?
Yeah, I do remember it clearly, yeah. And if you get it wrong, you know, you get 2 chances, and we see, who was it last year? Was it Benevente, I think, got it wrong. But Ryabko then, 4th, he does move up a little bit faster, so 41.553. So he does go faster than Missouri, who is now relegated to 5th on the grid if they stand as they are, but 5 minutes. The question is, can you change a prop in 5 minutes and put in a couple of laps? It's a sad sight then of Bimba's boat being put on the crane.
It's the end of Bimba's day, isn't it? So she starts from 6th as suspected earlier. So
yeah, she still manages to smile. Look at that, John.
Incredible character and competitor.
Now we look at Benevente then. So Duarte Benevente, world champion.
We're going to hear
let's have a few words, I think. Yeah.
After Q2, you were at 5th place, but now you are not competing with the guys in the race course. Why?
Because I couldn't continue. We had some fuel issues, so.
So you are saving your boat for tomorrow's fight.
You can see it like that. I wanted to be out there, really. The water looks beautiful, and I think we could have a good chance on the pole.
Can you tell me what kind of issues did you have?
Fuel issues.
So you are not going to tell me what kind of issues?
But if I don't have fuel, I don't have fuel.
Okay, so good luck for tomorrow, and I hope to see you there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Major development then, John, and I'll let you tell them.
Yeah, Ryabko, since we've been watching Bimber there, has taken provisional pole for the Grand Prix of Lithuania with a best lap of 40.888. So, whilst Bimber was talking about fuel issues, Ryabko made no mistake.
Celebrations then all around from the Lithuanians and Edgaras' fan club and his team, but 40.88. Now, that was the special lap I think we were looking for from Edgaras, and the question is really, has Zandbergen got an answer? 41.128 is his fastest time of the session, and he's done it on the first lap. Benavente then, third fastest, 41.145, with second mark, 41.192, and then Missouri with 41.768 for Team Abu Dhabi. So Ryabko, as we move into the final, just under 3 minutes then left in the session. Is that enough? He's still out there, John. He feels he can go faster.
Yeah. Probably wise. Just under 3 minutes left to go the session.
And now we look at this machine. This is Edgaras Ryabko. Let's get it right. And we lose him out of shot, but certainly provisional pole position 41.
Liquid lunch in lower stop.
Yeah, something like that. So Ryabko will be now waiting for this next 2 minutes, which in his head will go pretty slowly. For everybody else, they'll go pretty quickly. Come on, John, what's he going to do? Is he going to hold on there? Yellow flag, my goodness, at this stage. What's happened? Because we've just under it's 1.5 minutes really left, and now we've got a boat that is stopped and its second mark. Canopy is open. Now, has he just stopped in a nasty position, or has he had an incident?
I think this is another fuel. This is another fuel issue, probably, isn't it? Someone didn't take their Tesco fuel card, and they haven't put enough into both Bimber and his boat.
Espionage and sabotage and everything else.
I just think it's just underfueled.
But in the meantime, Missouri just also sitting there, just waiting at the moment. So yellow flag as Zandbergen continues. As we are at the moment, Zandbergen second, provisional second on the grid for tomorrow's race, 41.128. As second mark's boat then being recovered.
Now the key here,
second mark.
The key here, Jason, is will Larson green flag for a minute and a half's running?
Do you know what? I think he's got to give them the full 15 minutes, because Zandbergen could be on for a flyer. Benavente could also pull something out of the bag at the last minute. But yeah, I know what you're saying, with a minute and a half.
We have another interview coming up.
Šiandienos diena artėja į pabaigą, kvalifikacija irgi artėja į pabaigą. Iš tikrųjų, tikrai netruko įnirtingos kovos. Kaip vertini pats šiandienos dieną?
Įvyko viskas, apie ką prodiuseris gali svajoti. Turėjome tikrai dramatiškas varžybas ir atrodo turime labai gerą lietuvių rezultatą. Tai šiandien vakare vykstantis 8 vakare koncertas tikrai bus labai šventiškas. Taip pat rytoj 5 valandą transliuosime varžybas tiesiogiai iš Kupiškio marių. Ir vakare, žinoma, didžiulis, gyvas, šventinis koncertas čia valstybės dienos proga.
Mes galime išvysti ne tik įnirtingą kovą, bet taip pat praleisti labai smagiai laiką. Tai ką galbūt turi rekomenduoti mūsų žiūrovam, kurie galbūt nėra dar čia atvykę, bet rytoj turi progą?
Pirmiausia, šį vakarą tai visi laukia Sisters on Wire, Rūtos Ščigoliovaitės, Vaidos Genytės ir Aistės Pilvelytės specialaus projekto, o rytoj čia ir Justinas Kaira, ir Evita Cololo, Džiugas Joneikis, įvairių atlikėjų. Tai žinoma, vakaras bus tikrai tirštas ir fejerverkai virš marių taip pat bus įspūdingi. O visą dieną čia veikia visai šeimai pritaikytos pramogos ir atrakcionai, ir amatininkų mūgė, ir speciali VIP zona, į kurią gali žmonės patogiai žiūrėti. Žodžiu, man atrodo, kad šventė tikrai įvyko ir pavyko. Oras yra kol kas fantastiškas, tai leidžiam laiką puikiai.
Ačiū labai, Gediminai, aš visiškai tau pritariu, aš jau spėjau išbandyti beveik visas pramogas, dabar tik laukiu, kada mūsų žiūrovai atvyks rytoj ir susimatysime.
Jason? Yeah. Jason?
Yeah. Well, Mansouri's boat then, John, being towed back.
Yeah, so I was just thinking about that interview. Wasn't it great to see Bob Carroll-Gees again? And just a shame he didn't bring Smith the dog.
It's in the car.
Well, the Lithuanians looking happy, but just need to see this what's going to happen with this session.
Benavente will be hoping it's going to happen. Third on the grid, he could still do a lot from third in tomorrow's race, but ideally a nice pole position for the current world champion would
well, it looks like
would be nice,
have
wouldn't it?
taken enough fuel with them.
Yeah. Yeah, some miscalculation somewhere.
Ah.
Oh, now Pelly's
Mr. Larson's holding the green flag. Zelik tops up his Benidorm tan.
Yeah. We are ready. We're on green, and here we go. So we do get a minute and a half for Benavente, Zandbergen, and Segenmark. Well, Segenmark's not going to do it, is he? But certainly Zandbergen and Benavente.
This is really crucial for Duarte Benavente, absolutely crucial. He's got a clean track. This could be his chance.
This is like a shootout lap, really, all in itself, isn't it? Because they'll get enough, possibly, maximum they'll get is 2 laps, but I mean, realistically, they've got to get 1 perfect lap. Benavente is, of course, used to doing it. He's Formula 1 experience, Formula 2 now experience, of course, and a lot of testing time in this boat. Will it pay off then in the final few seconds? And Johnny's pushing it, isn't he?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. He wants this. He's been presented with an opportunity, whether he can take it or not. These next few seconds will tell.
The time that we're looking to beat then really is the one of Ryabko of 40.88. Can Benavente upset the Lithuanian here this weekend by posting a pole position? We will know within the next second or so.
Ryabko's concerned because he's gone back out on track. So that's the checkered flag. That's what they're cheering for. The times look unchanged, with Ryabko's 40.888 being the fastest.
Wow, so he's done it then, John. Ryabko, in his home qualifying session, gets pole position. His home Grand Prix pole position is a good way to not only start 2021, but a good way to start
well,
tomorrow's
the
race.
Lithuanians look super pleased, but you and I, Jason, we know football's coming home, so we can be content with that.
Yeah, we'll have something to celebrate in a few days' time, won't we? But
we've got a Lithuanian pole in Lithuania. That's with Zandbergen second. Really impressive on his comeback after taking the season out. He's second there. Duarte Benavente, the world champion, starts on third tomorrow. Daniel Segenmark on fourth. Mansour Al-Mansouri fifth on his debut for Team Abu Dhabi. Binba, very sad he didn't manage to get a lap in there on that Q3, but she will start for a very worthy sixth.
Well, there you have it. Garos Ryabko then. He's going to be pleased. He's going to be absolutely delighted. But now the pressure's on for tomorrow's race.
Yeah,
But look at that, John. Smiles all around, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, total laps tomorrow. That decision is going to be made at drivers' briefing in the morning. They're going to work out the average speeds here on a lap speeds to then see how many laps it'll be. It'll be around about 40 something or another. And we look forward to seeing you and speaking to you tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, stay tuned, of course, because all the action will happen again tomorrow for the Grand Prix. John, it's been an absolute pleasure as always, but we'll have a look at some of the highlights then of qualifying. And yeah, it's been absolutely immense. And what a way to end the qualifying with Edgaras Riabko, the organiser of this event, finding himself in pole position with Zandbergen second, Benavente third, Segenmark fourth, Mansuri fifth, and Wimbusho home sixth. Let's have a look at the highlights.
We're quite happy to close this down now, my friend.
Edgarai, įspūdingas finišas kvalifikacijoje. Pirmoji vieta, tikiu tiek žmonės prie ekranų, tiek susirinkę čia tave nesveikai palaiko ir nori tau paploti ir pasveikinti. Kokios tavo nuotaikos?
Aš esu apakęs. Pirmą kartą šiaip laimėjau kvalifikaciją ir tai padariau namuose Lietuvoje. Kupiškis, čia bus antri mano namai dabar. Ačiū labai visiems, kad palaikėt.
Ar viskas pavyko taip, kaip planavai ir kokios dabar nuotaikos prieš šitojų?
Principė tą, ką planavom, tas pavyko, bet negalvojau, kad be sraigtų ieškojimo tik tai va taip dūriau pirštų į akį ir pataikiau, kaip reikėjo.
Aš labai džiaugiuosi dar, kad sveikinu su tavimi ir mes jau susimatysime rytoj. Dėkui.
Ačiū.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that was most of that was okay. The only thing was I don't think Jason could hear me very well. Couldn't.
No, John was. Yeah.
Well done. Well done for